Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be drafting a corset pattern, and if it's something that you're interested in, you're welcome. Stay tuned to the end of the video. Thank you. So the first thing that I'll be doing now is to place my vertical measurements. So I'll be measuring my shoulder to bust, which is 11 inches here, my shoulder to under bust, which is 15 inches, and my shoulder to waistline, which is 18 inches. And I'll just mark that and mark it at the other side so I can just join the points together on a straight line. Now the next thing for me to do now is to come up from my bust point by 2 inches. I'm coming up by 2 inches, so that will serve as my chest line. In this case, I'm using 9 inches. My shoulder to bust point is 11, so when I came up, I got 9 inches. So that's just what I'm marking there. I'm just connecting the line. So I'll just go over to that top line right there and input my shoulder measurement. In this case, I'm working with 16 inches, so I divided that by 2 and I got 8 inches. So that's what I'm placing there. Then I'll come down to the chest line and also put the same 8 inches on that line. And then I'll just label it chest line, my bust point, under bust, and waistline for easy understanding. And then I'll just join those 2 points together from the chest line to the top line there on a straight line. Now the next thing I'll be doing is to place my neck width and neck depth. For this tutorial, I'm working with 3 inches by 3 inches for the width and the depth. So that's 3 by 3, and it's the standard measurement for the front pattern. Then you can customize it later to your own wish. Then after doing that, I will come back to that line, that straight line there, and I'll come down by 1 inch. That will serve as my shoulder slope measurements, because our shoulders are naturally not straight, so we need to come down by 1 inch for that. So I'll just connect it back into the line, the neckline measurements there. Now the next thing that I will do now is to measure what I have there from the chest line to the shoulder line, and I got 8 inches, and then I divided that by 2 and that gave me 4 inches. So I'm just marking it right there, and then from that 4 inches I will come out by 0.5 inch because that is the front armhole, so we need to come out by 0.5 inch. So I'll be placing my bust circumference measurements on that chest line. I'm working with 40 inches, so I divided that by 4 and that gave me 10 inches. So that's just what I'm marking. That's the point. So I'll connect it from there to the 0.5 and then back into that shoulder slope point. That's just what I'm doing now. The next thing that I'll be doing is to place my bust span measurement or my nipple to nipple measurement. So in this case, I'm working with 9 inches nipple to nipple. So I divided that by 2 and that gave me 4.5 inches. And I'm just going to mark it on my chest line, on my bust point line, on the under bust, and also on the waist. It varies from person to person, guys. Yours could be 8 inches and you divide that by 2 to give you 4. But for this particular measurement, I'm working with 9 inches. So I'll just connect those 4 points together. Now from the bust point, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch. You could leave it like that if you want, but for this tutorial I want to come down by 1 inch from the bust point. Then we'll be taking my bust radius. That will be from the bust point to the under bust. You measure what you have there, and in my case it was 4 inches. So I'm just going to mark that 4 inches round. I'll place my tape rule on the exact bust point line there, I'll make sure my tape measure doesn't move, and then I'll just connect it. If you have a compass, it will be easier for you to do this with a compass. So you just mark that 4 inches that you got round that area, placing your tape measure on that point. The reason why I am marking that 4 inches round is for it to be like a guide for us when we are drafting our cup. So we just follow that as a guide. I'm just tracing it out with my pen. So now I am going to be coming down to that underbust and putting our dart intake. I'm going to be taking out 1 inch from both sides of that line on the underbust line. So I'm coming out by 1 inch, and I'm also coming out on the other side by 1 inch. I'll come down to my waistline and also take out 1 inch on both sides, making 2 inches that we're taking out. And then we are going to be connecting it to that 1 inch that I came down by. So first I'm just going to connect the 2 points together first, from the waistline to the underbust. And then using a curved ruler, I'm going to connect it to that point that we came down by previously, the 1 inch that we came down by. So I will just connect it using a curved ruler to just try to smoothen it into that measurement there. We don't want any sharp edges, so just make it as curvy as possible. So the next thing now is to determine where we want our cup to start from. So if you like, you could start from the upper part of that chest line, but I'll just be going up by 1 inch from the chest line. I don't want the cup to be too high, so I'll just extend that line by 1 inch from that chest line, that straight line there. I will extend it by 1 inch. You could go higher if you want, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll just go up by 1 inch. And after doing that, I'll just extend that line to meet that 1 inch. Now we are going to be taking out the same amount of that we took out from the underbust. So I'm going to be taking out 1 inch from each side of that line that we extended. And then on the bust point, I'm going to be coming up by half an inch from the bust point, and then I will try to connect that line into the 1 inch that we took, the 1 inch that we took on both sides. So I'll just smoothen it into the measurement there. Next thing that we want to do now is to determine how low we want the front of the cup to be, the corset. So I'll just be coming down by half an inch from my chest line. You could stay on the chest line and do what you want to do on the chest line if you want, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to be coming down by half an inch, and then I'm going to be going outwards by half an inch also, and I'll just connect it together. So by the time we open that side up, because that place is going to be unfold, so when we open it up, it's going to be 1 inch. That's the distance between cup A to cup B at the center of the chest. So it's going to be 1 inch. So now I just want to connect that half an inch to that point at the underbust. Just make sure it aligns together, and then just draw your curve to connect it from that half an inch we measured there back into the underbust measurements there, just like that. Then the next thing is that we want to connect from there to that measurements there that we took at the top of the chest line. So you just align your curved ruler on the 2 points and make sure that it's well aligned and it's giving you the right shape that you want, and then you just connect the 2 points together just like that. You can see that the cup is already taking shape now. So now we move to the other side. Now because our bust is wider at the side, I'm going to be extending that side by 0.5 inch because that side is bigger. The bust there is bigger at the sides than in the center. So now I'm going to connect from that 0.5 I came out by. I'll connect it to the other side of that under bust just like that. Nice and easy. The other cup is already taking shape at this point. So now what we want to do now is I want to come down to the armhole and measure what I have there, which is 2 inches. Then I divided it into 2, which gave me 1 on both sides, and then from that one I'm coming down by 0.5. So it's from that 0.5. Now I'm just going to extend this line first and foremost, extend it out. So in case you're going to be doing a corset that is tube, not with a yoke, you can just, that will be your new armhole. That 0.5 that I came down by will be your new armhole if you are going to be doing a corset that is like a tube corset. Now I'm just going to connect from the other side of that dart at the top to that 0.5, just like that. That's our second cup right there. And then that other part, I'm going to try to use a curved ruler to just align the 2 parts together so we can just finish up our cup. And that's it for the cup shaping and drafting. And like I said earlier, the upper part is going to serve as the yoke. The upper side is the yoke if you're going to be making a corset that has the yoke at the top. So that is what you're going to cut off, that upper side, into the armhole as the yoke. But if it's going to be a tube, you just come down by that 0.5, the new armhole that I talked about earlier. Now I just want to trace that side to avoid confusion, just to trace it and close that gap there. So that place is going to be the darts that we're going to be taking out when we are cutting this. So the next thing I will do now is just to place my horizontal measurement. So I'll just place my bust circumference. I already placed that already. Then I'm going to add the 2 inches darts back into it. That's what I'm placing there because we took 2 inches out. Then I'll come down to the underbust, measure my underbust. I'm working with 36 divided by 4, that's 9. Then I'll go back and put in the 2 inches that I took out previously. So that's what I'm putting back there. Then the waist, I'm working with a waist of 33. So I divided that by 4. And then I placed back the 2 inches that I took previously as well. And that's what I'm placing there. And I'll just connect the 3 parts together from the chest to the underbust and then to the waist. Now what I'm going to add now is the sewing allowance. I'm going to be adding 1 inch sewing allowance. You can add as much as 2 inches if you want, but for the sake of this tutorial I'll just be adding 1 inch, and then I'll just connect the 3 parts together. On the lower part, I'll be adding half an inch for maybe you want to join it to a skirt or you want to join it to a peplum, or half an inch is okay, or you can add 1 inch if you like, but for me I'm just adding half an inch. And like I said, so yeah, these cups now you're going to be cutting two each, two for the center one and two for the side one. So when you're transferring to your fabric, that's what you're going to cut. And then I'm just indicating that we're going to cut off that part, that is the dart that we took in. So it's going to be cut out when you are cutting the paper. Now I'm just indicating where the arrows will follow when you want to transfer to your fabric and sew, which side is going to which side. So I'm just using that arrow to specify, and that's just it for the front. And now I'll just be drafting the back pattern. So the first thing that I'll be doing is trying to trace out or transfer my lines from my front pattern, my chest line, my bust point, and my waistline. I do not need the the under bust line because there is no bust at the back. So the next thing that I'll be doing now is to measure my shoulder to my waistline, which I've already traced. I'm just trying to mark it at the other side now so I can use a straight ruler to connect it together. Now because this is the back, we are going to be putting in the zipper allowance because the back is going to have a zipper. So I'm coming in by 1 inch. You can go in by 1.5 or 2 inches, totally depends on you, but for the sake of this tutorial I'll be taking in 1 inch as my zipper allowance. Now I'm just marking out the chest line that I traced out before. I'm just tracing it out, and then the bust point that I traced from the front previously, and I'll just connect the point together with a straight ruler. Now just like I did for the front pattern, I'm going to be putting in my shoulder measurement, which is 16 divided by 2, 8 inches, and then I'll transfer it again on the chest line just like I did for the front pattern, and I'll just connect it together with a straight ruler. Now for the neck, I'm also going to be using 3 inches for the width, and then for the length or the depth, I'm just going to mark 4 inches. It depends on you. You can customize it however you want, but for the sake of this tutorial I'll just be using 4 inches as the depth, and I'm just connecting it together. Now I'm going to come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope just like we did for the front pattern, and I'll just mark it and slant it back into the neck measurements there. Now the next thing that I will be doing now is just to mark out my armhole curve. So I'm not going to be coming out by 0.5 for the back armhole like we did for the front. So I will just place my bust circumference measurement, which is 40 inches divided by 4, which gave me 10. So I'm just marking that 10 inches there. Then I'll connect from that 10 inches back into the line, that armhole, to create a curve just like that. Then I'll be marking my bust span or nipple to nipple measurement, and just like in the front, I'm working with 9 inches, so divided by 2 will give me 4.5. So I'll just be marking it on the bust line and on the waistline, and then I'll just connect it together with a straight ruler. Then I'll be coming down from that bust point by 1 inch. Then I will take 0.5 inch from both sides of that line to form my dart, and then from those 0.5 I'm going to connect it back into that 1 inch that I came down by from the bust line, just like I'm doing. Then I'm just going to be placing my waist measurement divided by 4. I'm going to be placing it there. Then I will go back and add the 1 inch dart that I took, and I will place it back into that measurement. The 1 inch dart has to be replaced. That is my bust circumference there, 40. I already placed that. So now I'm just going to connect it together. Now there's something that I want to note here. If we are going to be working with a yoke for this back pattern, then you can leave this pattern this way. You just cut off that other part as your yoke. You follow that straight line for your yoke. But if you want to draft this corset as a tube, then you have to come down by 0.5 for the new armhole, just like the way we created for the first one. Remember, I came down by 0.5 for the front armhole because I was marking it as a tube in case you want it as a tube. So that's the same thing that you're going to be doing there, so that the armholes can align together. So you come down by 0.5 at that armhole. That is if you want it as a tube. But if you want to leave it as a yoke, you can just follow that chest line and leave it like that, and then you cut off the upper part as the yoke and then join it later on the fabric. I hope you understand. So I have marked the 0.5, so I'm just marking it down on a curved ruler. You can just customize the way you want your back to look. Actually, this is just like the basic shape that I'm just giving it. So that will be the tube. If it's a tube corset you want, you just cut that upper part off. You don't need that. But if you want it as a yoke, I'm just indicating it there. Then you can follow that chest line, or even you can follow the 0.5 and then use the remaining upper part as the yoke. I hope you understand. Then I'm just going to be adding 1 inch as my sewing allowance. Like I said, you can add as much as 1.5 or 2 inches, but I will just be adding 1 inch here, and I'll just connect it together. On the lower part, I'll be adding 0.5 inch and then just connecting it together, just like I did for the front pattern. Now for this zipper area, I want to avoid the bulge that we normally see on garments at the back, where the zipper is kind of bulgy. So I'm going to be coming in by 0.5 on that line, 0.5 inwards, and then 0.5 outwards, and then I'll connect it from that line back into the chest or bust line. Basically just taking 0.5 away from the 1 inch, so it's not going to be a straight line we're going to be having now. It's going to be kind of curvy because I'm going to be curving it back into that line, that bust line. Then on the other side that I've taken 0.5 out of again, that part, I'm going to be marking it again and connecting it back into that line, taking away the 0.5. That way the back of the garment is going to be smooth and it will lay flat. It won't be bulgy. It won't poke out. The zipper won't poke out. So it will just lay flat and nice there. So guys, we are basically done with the back pattern. This is like the simplest way. You can customize later however you want your yoke to be, but this is like one of the basic or like the simplest yoke. So I'm just laying them side by side. That is the back, and then that is the front pattern of the corset. Either you want it as a yoke attached to it, or you want it as a tube without the yoke. It totally depends on your preference. And so now I'm just going to be cutting out this pattern. So here are the cups, the C one for the center and then the S one for the sides, and it's a pair for each side of the bodies, and then you'll be cutting that in pairs, like two for each side, and then you had sewing allowance 0.5 around that area that I'm indicating. So this is the yoke for the front pattern, the upper part of the pattern at the front. So that's where you're going to be attaching to the fabric below, and then when I open it up, this is how it will look like. And then I'll just be showing you how the center front is going to look. That is the center front. That's the distance between the cups, and then I've just placed the paper how it's going to look like if you cut it on the fabric. Then you'll be placing your cups into that space there, that empty space where your cups will sit, and that's just the C1 and S1 in that space where I placed it. Now I'm just cutting the back pattern. Like I said earlier, if you want it to be a yoke, then you can just cut from that chest line. You can just cut from that chest line, and that will serve as your yoke that you attach to your fabric below. If it's a tube you're trying to make, you can just cut through that line. You come down by 0.5 and cut through that line. But if it's with the yoke, then you can leave it this way and just cut on your fabric. It's totally fine. And on that note, I say thank you very much for watching this video to the end. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It's very much appreciated here. And support my channel, like and share. Till I see you in my next video. Stay blessed and bye.